Alright, welcome back to the channel. Let's do a first look at Deadball Baseball with Dice. This is a book series that I picked up on Drive-Thru RPG, and I have 4 books in the series. I have version 2, I have Masters of the Game, Year 2, and Year 3. And I've implemented the stuff that I liked, and I've created an app, of course I have. And let's take a look. Wrong one. Well, let me show you that first. So we will, after this first look, we will be doing a playograph version where we go back in time and do baseball games as you would have experienced the Deadball era before radio. So we'll tackle that next stream. This one will be more focused on the actual game. Let's see. What else do I need to tell you? So what I'm doing is a 1892 replay. I took the top 4 teams from that season, and the reason I started here is essentially we've condensed into one league at this point, and I wanted a nice long runway for Deadball. So we're going to do a little sprint season. Team with the best record will be crowned the champion. We've got the Boston Beaneaters, who I will, first thing we're going to do, we're going to assign ballparks. So we're going to roll for a ballpark quirk. And so they have a high mound. So that's going to be their ballpark quirk. So we're going to go to the Brooklyn Grooms. Their quirk is massive outfield, expansive outfield. Then the Cleveland Spiders, shout out Dave Gardner, they also have an expansive outfield. And the Boston Reds, they have a center field oddity, -1 to center field defense checks for the away team. So the away team will have a little bit more difficult time dealing with fly balls because they're not familiar with the situation at Boston. I think that's pretty cool. So that said, I think we're ready to start opening day, the Boston Beaneaters at the Boston Reds. So we'll go in, we got the center field oddity. So quickly, I'll go through. The pitcher has anywhere from he can have a negative dice, or he can go all the way up to a D20. So we're looking at D4 through a D100, and this is basically a subtraction off the hitter. So instead of a 50-50, the pitcher has a roll to determine how much he's going to deduct off the hitter's roll. It's a pretty simple game on the surface, and you can add a lot of wrinkles to it. But let's say Tommy Tucker, the first batter for the Beaneaters, he has between a 1 and 28 is going to be a hit, but the pitcher, in this case, he'll be going up against the Reds, George Haddock. He has a D8, so he could roll up to an 8. So say if he rolled a 28 and he rolled an 8, you would take that off of his hit roll. So anything between 1 and 28 after the modifier is going to be a hit, and anything between 28 and 37 is going to be a walk after the modifier. So you have other players with some extra skills. Hugh Duffy is a power hitter. He's also got speed, so the different symbols will mean different things. These will all show up here, again, on this app. All this is in the books, but again, I've converted into this app. I haven't extensively tested this, so I could run into a few problems along the way, but I wanted to show you this and then show some of the actual from the playograph gameplay footage. So let's get started. First batter up, Tommy Tucker, stepping in against the Reds, George Haddock. I have the computer will do all the dice rolling, so you can see those on the screen. Game 1, 1892.
against George Haddock. Nobody out. Bases empty.
Crazy roll right off the get-go.
Out.
Okay, so the batter reached. Let's make sure we didn't record an out there. Okay. So he actually reached on a pitcher error. Looked like it was going to be an out, but he has reached. He does not have extra speed, so I'm not going to steal, but stealing is obviously a big part of the dead ball era. Hugh Duffy up now, runner on first.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hugh Duffy is the batter. Nobody out. Runner on first.
So poor pitcher roll.
A little flare over the infield. Hugh Duffy singles.
Okay, so we have runners advance 2 on that base hit. So I'll move Tucker over here to third. So we got first and third, no one out. Tommy McCarthy coming up.
The crowd buzzes as Tommy McCarthy steps in. Nobody out and runners on first and third. George Haddock nods at the sign.
We've got big trouble brewing here. They've triggered a rally bonus. Bases loaded, no one out. Cleanup hitter Billy Nash coming up.
Ladies and gentlemen, Billy Nash is the batter. Nobody out. Bases loaded.
The pitcher can get a bonus if he can wiggle out of this.
Grounded to first.
Okay, so I have a triple play. Holy cow! That's what I thought that TP was. We just witnessed a triple play on our very first game. Holy cow. Alright, so that is going to literally wipe.
A clean frame for the defense. The Boston Bonitas go scoreless. Your scoreboard reads Boston Bonitas 0. Boston Red 0.
Alright, well, what a interesting way to get us started. I'm not sure how many times I've ever experienced a triple play in all of my sim baseball. So he's going to get, so that gives him a bonus. He's going to get another die. He's going to go to a D10 after escaping that inning on that confidence. So that will okay, so but it's also been negated. So he gets a plus on his die for the escaping with a bases loaded situation, but he also gets a negative. So these two are going to cancel each other for being rattled for allowing 3 base runners in one inning. So very interesting first half of the inning. That was cool. Now the Reds come up to bat. Dan Bruther steps in against Kid Nichols.
And now Dan Brothers steps to bat. Nobody out. Base is empty. Kid Nichols on the hill.
So Nichols not quite as good as Haddock.
Dan Brothers is out.
So he flies out to left.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hugh Duffy is the batter. One away, base is empty.
Poor pitcher roll. Possible error here.
The shortstop gets his glove on it. No difference to the outcome.
Throws him
Hugh
out.
Duffy is out.
2 away.
Now stepping in, Tom Brown. 2 down, base is empty. Kid Nichols gets the sign.
Really good pitch from him. Rolling for a hit. Let's see what type of hit we had.
Line drive. The fielder is tracking it.
It's got a chance of being a triple, potentially even more. It's going to be an
By
error.
the right fielder. The ball rolls away. Error. Tom Brown is aboard.
So that actually ended up reducing the play to a runner on first. Brown does have speed. We're going to test the catcher's arm here.
Not this time. Tom Brown is caught stealing at second.
That'll end the inning. After 1, no score. Bean Eaters coming to bat. Herman Long stepping in.
The crowd buzzes as Herman Long steps in. Nobody out and bases empty. George Haddock nods at the sign. Herman Long is out.
King Kelly.
And now King Kelly steps to bat. One away, bases empty. George Haddock on the hill.
Quite a few Hall of Famers in this game.
King Kelly is out.
Grounds out to first, unassisted, 2 away.
The next man up is Joe Quinn. 2 down, bases empty. George Haddock takes a deep breath on the mound. Solid fundamentals from the right fielder. The result holds. Joe Quinn is out.
So tough play, the right fielder makes the play.
The Boston Beaneaters go quietly in the top of the second. No damage done. The score, Boston Beaneaters 0, Boston Reds 0.
Bring up Paul Radford.
Paul Radford adjusts his cap and digs in. Nobody out, bases empty. Here we go. Paul Radford is out. The crowd buzzes as Duke Farrell steps in.
Double power here
bases
for
empty.
Duke
Jim
Farrell.
Nichols nods at the sign.
If he could get a hold to one, could see our first ever home run.
Duke Farrell is out. Cub Stricker batting for the Boston Reds. 2 down and bases empty. Kid Nichols on the hill for the Boston Beaneaters. He's retired. And that retires the side. A scoreless bottom of the second for the Boston Reds. It's Boston Beaneaters 0, Boston Reds 0.
Apologize, I may have had that sound up a little bit loud. I've turned that down a little bit. Let's see if that maybe makes it a little bit better.
The crowd buzzes as Harry Stovey steps in. Nobody out and bases empty. George Haddock nods at the sign. Fly out to left.
That's going to bring up the pitcher. Pretty good
The
hitting
next man
pitcher.
up is Kid Nichols. 1 away, bases empty. George Haddock takes a deep breath on the mound. Kid Nichols is out.
Grounds out to pitcher to first. Back to the top of the
Up
lineup.
next, Tommy Tucker. 2 down and bases empty. George Haddock toes the rubber. Tommy Tucker is out.
Second to first, ends
A
the inning.
goose egg for the Boston Beaneaters. Scoreless in the top of the third. Your scoreboard reads Boston Beaneaters 0, Boston Reds 0.
Again, if you you can pick up a lot of the details on how to play just from the results. You may need to slow it down in a few places, but very easy game to pick up and has a lot of interesting features that I like. It's a lot like I'm not sure if this is actually my second or third take on this video. So it's a lot like plays
The Boston Reds
baseball
send Jack
game.
McGeechee to the plate. Nobody out, bases empty. Kid Nichols of the Boston Beaneaters ready to deal.
Super highly rated on Board Game Geek. Anything over an 8 is a incredibly highly
A
rated
clean
game.
single for Jack McGeechee.
So there's a base hit. We've got a runner on. Does not have extra speed, but I'm going to send him anyway.
Look at him fly. Jack McGeechee steals second without a contest. Up next, Morgan Murphy. Nobody out and runner on second. Kid Nichols toes the rubber.
Reds could be looking to score a run here.
A liner finds grass. Morgan Murphy is aboard with a single.
So I'll bring him in. That is our first run of the game. 1-0 Reds. We're going to go for another steal here.
The catcher's throw is late. Morgan Murphy swipes second. Up next, George Haddock. Nobody out and runner on second. Kid Nichols toes the rubber.
Possible error. Error on 1 to 3.
Solid fundamentals from the first baseman. The result holds. He's retired.
Didn't say the runner advanced, so he will stay at second.
Dan Brothers approaches the plate with purpose. One away, runner on second. Kid Nichols winds up. That one drops in. Single for Dan Brothers.
Runner advances 2. He will score. Reds now lead 2 to nothing over the Boston Beaneaters. And this is National League Baseball, 1892.
Here comes Hugh Duffy to the plate. One away and runner on first. Kid Nichols looks in for the signal. A dying quail. It drops in for a single. Hugh Duffy is on.
Brothers to third. Still only 1 out. Tom Brown with
The Boston
a card
Reds
full
send Tom Brown to the
of
plate.
traits.
One away. Runners on first and third. Kid Nichols of the Boston Beaneaters ready to deal.
This could be a double play.
He's retired.
And it is. Double play ends the inning.
The Boston Reds send 2 across the plate that half inning. Your scoreboard reads Boston Beaneaters 0, Boston Reds 2.
So we've had a triple play and a double play to wipe out what looked like to be sure runs. Hugh Duffy now top of the 4th.
The crowd buzzes as Hugh Duffy steps in. Nobody out and bases empty. George Haddock nods at the sign. Hugh Duffy is out.
Grounded out to the pitcher.
Tommy McCarthy approaches the plate with purpose. One away, bases empty. George Haddock winds up. Tommy McCarthy whips.
Haddock's first strikeout. Our first strikeout. First strikeout of 1892 replay.
Up next, Billy Nash. 2 down and bases empty. George Haddock toes the rubber.
Strikeouts are fairly rare. Hard hit out. We've seen those
Billy
are
Nash is out.
devastating.
The Boston Beaneaters go quietly in the top of the 4th. No damage done. The score, Boston Beaneaters 0, Boston Reds 2.
So 100
Paul
is
Radford
obviously the
settles into
worst you
box,
can roll
bat waggling.
on offense.
Nobody out, bases empty. Kid Nichols ready to go.
Okay, so Kid Nichols has lost his dice.
The ball is smacked toward the defense. Here comes the play. The third baseman handles it, but the hit is good.
He's got an infield hit. Paul Radford is on, so Nichols is now, because of his rattled, giving up 4 base runners. He has no dice here, so potential for more runs scored. Being that it's a dead ball error, I'm not, unless this gets completely out of hand, I'm not going to go to the bullpen.
Duke Farrell approaches the plate with purpose. Nobody out. Runner on first. Kid Nichols winds up.
So you're getting to see a lot of the
He's retired.
nuances of this. Double play wipes out both runners.
Now stepping in comes Stricker. 2 down, bases empty. Kid Nichols gets the sign.
Walks him. Stricker will steal. Will attempt to steal.
Save! Cub Stricker steals second. What a burst of speed.
Geechee
The
now.
crowd buzzes as Jack McGeechay steps in. 2 down and runner on second. Kid Nichols nods at the sign. Strike 3. A clean frame
Strikes
for
him
the
out,
defense.
his first.
The Boston Reds go scoreless. The score, Boston Beaneaters 0, Boston Reds 2.
To the 5th.
Herman Long adjusts his cap and digs in. Nobody out. Bases empty. Here we go.
Tremendous pitch. D12 now. So this is So let me tell you about why we just
He's
went
retired.
to a... He's now rolling a D12, and that's because he just completed 3 straight perfect innings. So he's getting more and more difficult to hit off of, and that's going
Now
to bring up
stepping
King
in,
Kelly.
King Kelly. One away, bases empty. George Haddock gets the sign.
Potential hit here.
Chop it to the infield. The fielder is on the move.
I think this could be a double.
He
Oh,
boots
the error is
it. The
going to...
first baseman can't come up with it. Error on the play. King Kelly reaches.
Kelly on, Joe Quinn up now.
Joe Quinn approaches the plate with purpose. One away. Runner on first. George Haddock winds up.
So Kelly must be aging at this point. His card didn't look that great. Oh, an oddity.
He's retired.
So he's caught. Okay, so I think this is reporting wrong. So he is supposed to be out. But he was called safe. So I'm going to adjust the scoring on this play. Alright, so still 2 outs.
Here's Harry Stovey now. Stepping in to face George Haddock. 2 down and runner on second. Base hit. Harry Stovey single safely.
That's going to advance the runners too. Okay, so it did count him as out. So that's on the list of things I might fix on the app. Alright, so single scores the run. That cuts the lead to 2-1. Stovey, what is that symbol? Looks like he's a ground ball machine. Or could be weak hitter. Maybe that's weak hitter. I don't recall that one. Alright, Kid Nichols up. Pitcher
next,
batting.
Kid Nichols. 2 down and runner on first. George Haddock toes the rubber.
Tremendous pitch.
He's retired. A single tally for the Boston Bean Eaters that inning. It's Boston Bean Eaters 1, Boston Reds 2.
Alright, cuts the lead in half as we go to the bottom of the 5th.
Ladies and gentlemen, Morgan Murphy is the batter. Nobody out, base is empty.
He singled and drove in a run and stole a base. Potentially going to get on again here on this error check.
A diving stop by the catcher. He keeps that hit from being extra bases.
It ends up being
Morgan Murphy
a
heads back.
strikeout, despite what the announcer thought.
The next man up is George Haddock. 1 away, bases empty. Kid Nichols takes a deep breath on the mound. George Haddock is out.
2 down.
Here comes Dan Brothers to the plate.
It's
2
1
down.
for 2
The base is empty. Kid
with
Nichols
an
looks in for
RBI.
the signal man.
Possible error check here. 1 to 3 is an error.
The catcher fields it cleanly. No change on the play. Dan Brothers whiffs. Shut down. The Boston Reds are retired in order. 0 runs at half. Your scoreboard reads Boston Bean Eaters 1, Boston Reds 2.
2 strikeouts in an inning gives a pitcher a bonus, which you can see down here in the bottom. So he is going to at least get back to a D4. That'll be helpful. Top of the 6th, 2-1. Got a pretty good game going here.
Tommy Tucker approaches the plate with purpose. Nobody out. Base is empty. George Haddock winds up.
That would have been a productive out.
Tommy Tucker is out.
Deep fly ball.
Here comes Hugh Duffy to the plate. 1 away and base is empty.
Ground out to third.
Tommy McCarthy strides to the batter's box. 2 down, base is empty. George Haddock peers in at the catcher.
He's going to go for the steal. He's got speed.
Tommy McCarthy takes off for second. Safe. He steals the bag. Here's Billy Nash now, stepping in to face George Haddock. 2 down and runner on second.
Very good pitch from Haddock.
Billy Nash is out.
That will
A
do it.
goose egg for the Boston Beaneaters. Scoreless in the top of the 6th. It's Boston Beaneaters 1, Boston Reds 2.
Bottom of the 6th now. Meat of the order
Here
for the
comes Hugh
Reds.
Duffy to the plate. Nobody out and base is empty. Kid Nichols looks in for the signal.
Possible error check here.
The shortstop is there, but it doesn't alter the play. Hugh Duffy is out. Tom Brown digs in against Kid Nichols. 1 away, base is empty. Fly out to center. The crowd buzzes as Paul Radford steps in. 2 down and base is empty. Kid Nichols nods at the sign.
So you can see Nichols did have a D4 there for his pitcher role.
A liner finds grass. Paul Radford is aboard with a single.
We will steal with Radford. Oh, call steal.
Brad Reed. Paul Radford is thrown out trying to steal second.
Alright, top of the 7th now. 2-1 Reds over the Beaneaters. Beaneaters 1 run on 2 hits and an error. Reds 2 runs on 6 hits with 2 errors. Herman Long now stepping to the plate.
Herman Long strides to the batter's box. Nobody out. Base is empty. George Haddock peers in at the catcher. He's retired.
Fly out to center.
Ladies and gentlemen, King Kelly is the batter. 1 away. Base is empty.
Not a great pitch. He's going to walk King Kelly. That's going to bring up Joe Quinn.
Joe Quinn approaches the plate with purpose. 1 away.
Controversial
Runner on
call at first.
George Haddock winds up.
Productive out.
They get the lead runner.
Okay, so it's not going to be productive. They got the lead runner. Quinn is on now. Harry Stovey, I think he's ground ball.
To bat. 2 down, runner on first. George Haddock on the hill.
Really good pitch from Haddock.
Grounder, pitcher to first.
Yeah, that would have been a double play.
A goose egg for the Boston Beaneaters. Scoreless in the top of the 7th. The score, Boston Beaneaters 1, Boston Reds 2.
Bottom of the 7th now. 2-1 Reds.
Now stepping in, Duke Farrell. Nobody out, base is empty. Kid Nichols gets the sign. Got him, strike 3.
So Nichols has battled back from having no pitching dice to settling down and pitching really well. Got a chance if he can pick up one more strikeout this inning to improve his pitching dice again. Our third oddity of the game, in addition to a triple play.
Cub Stricker is out.
Picks off the runner.
As Jack McGeechee steps in. A 2 down and base is empty. Kid Nichols nods at the sign. The ball is smacked toward the defense. Here comes the play.
Could be a double. It
The
is.
left fielder fields it cleanly. No change on the play.
Two outs, runner on second. Nichols still looking for that second
Up next,
strikeout.
Morgan Murphy McCarthy. 2 down and runner on second. Kid Nichols toes the rubber. He's retired. A goose egg for the Boston Reds. Scoreless in the bottom of the 7th. The score, Boston Beaneaters 1, Boston Reds 2.
Top of the 8th. Getting late. Kid Nichols, pretty good hitting pitcher.
The crowd buzzes
Let
as
him
Kid
swing
Nichols
away.
steps in. Nobody out and bases empty. George Haddock nods at the sign. Grounder, second baseman to first.
Back
Tommy
to the leadoff
digs in
hitter.
against George Haddock. One away, base is empty. He's retired.
Hugh Duffy settles into the box, bat waggling. 2 down, bases empty. George Haddock ready to go.
No idea why that voice just changed.
Grounder pitcher to first. 3 outs, no runs. The Boston Beaneaters are done in the top of the 8th. It's Boston Beaneaters 1, Boston Reds 2.
Alright, here we go. Bottom of the 8th.
George Haddock adjusts his cap and digs in. Nobody out, base is empty. Here we go.
Haddock, a great hitting pitcher. In fact, could be the number 6 hitter on this team. Takes the walk.
Dan Brothers adjusts his cap and digs in. Nobody out, runner on first. Here we go.
So the
Fly out to right.
baseball has now got ragged. So we have some minuses to the first 2 numbers for a hit and walk because the baseball is getting worn out. Another cool and interesting feature.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hugh Duffy is the batter. 1 away, runner on first.
Possible error here. 1-3.
The first baseman handles it, but the hit is good. He's retired. And now Tom Brown steps to bat. 2 down, runner on first. Kid Nichols on the hill. He's retired. Sad. 3 outs, no runs. The Boston Reds are done in the bottom of the 8th. We stand at Boston Beaneaters 1, Boston Reds 2.
Alright, here we go. Top of the 9th. Meat of the order. 3, 4, 5 due up for the Boston Beaneaters. Can they get to George Haddock here in...
Tommy McCarthy settles into the box, bat waggling. Nobody out, base is empty. George Haddock ready to go.
Tremendous pitch. 12.
Tommy McCarthy is out. The next man up is Billy Nash. 1 away, base is empty. George Haddock takes a deep breath on the mound. He's retired.
Down to their last chance. Herman Long.
Up next, Herman Long. 2 down and base is empty.
Really good
George
pitch.
Haddock toes the rubber.
Need a very low roll. Does not get it.
Grounder, shortstop to first. A goose egg for the Boston Beaneaters. Scoreless in the top of the 9th. The score, Boston Beaneaters 1, Boston Reds 2.
Alright, and that'll do it. 2-1. The Reds defeat the Beaneaters in a pretty interesting game. The obviously, the difference maker is that first inning triple play, which wiped out the Beaneaters. Big chance to score. Controversial call in the 5th. RBIs, let's see who we had here. We had Harry Stovey drove in 1. Steals from McCarthy and King Kelly. For the Reds, Brothers 1 for 4. Paul Radford 2 for 3. MVP of the game, probably going to give that to Jack McGreechy. He was 2 for 3, run scored, doubled, and stole a base. Haddock pitched well, 9 innings, just giving up the 1 run, 3 walks on 2 hits. So probably between those two for the MVP. But there you have it. That is Deadball, baseball with dice. We will check back in, and we will do a playograph game or two and experience true Deadball replay. Thanks for joining, and we will see you on the next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. What else is there to do? Hit the bell. I think that's it. Do all those things. Appreciate it. Catch you next time.